God.
Shalom. Okay. I don't know if you can see me because I have the light behind me. I'm going to move for a second. Turn around like this. Shalom. Let me get myself right. I feel like I'm not going to call out somebody's name, but always touching the screen and moving stuff. Yoshi Yahoo. But yeah, I called your name out. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. So today is a great day. Every day is a great day. But hallelujah, we're so grateful today is new moon's coming in, and we have the Feast of Trumpets upon us, and we have Shabbat. So we're going to have a feast in a few when we get done with our teaching. But I just wanted to reach out to everyone and first of all, let me say hi to you. Welcome to everybody that's visiting us and looking at us, watching us live or the recording. This is the Ark of New Jersey, and I'm Elder Yechezk'el Ben Yisra'el, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be before you for a minute. Today is going to be really special for us today. We're going to have one of my ox here, Mark Campbell, is going to teach. And so I'm going to turn the table over to him. And I just am grateful that he's been with us for a minute. And I'm grateful for everyone that fellowships with us. And I'm grateful for Zion. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, grateful. I feel like singing that song, Grateful, Grateful, Grateful. You know the song, hallelujah. So praise Yah. You're not going to have to endure the beard for a minute. He has his own beard, but you're not going to have to endure mine for a minute. But I'm so grateful for this opportunity to introduce to you Mark Campbell.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody here knows me. I just want to jump right into what I was telling y'all a few minutes ago, that I had this study that I was doing in the Ebony Affirm that I wanted to share it with everybody else. So if y'all would be so kind, if somebody could open up Isaiah chapter 7. And it's funny because I don't know who I talk. I'm sure I talked with somebody about it because I'm always talking to somebody about everything. But I had a debate with not a debate, but a spirited conversation with a non-messianic a while ago about the prophecy of Emmanuel being like being a person or actually being a messianic prophecy. And I wish I knew what I'm about to share with y'all then, because it helps to paint a picture of how you really need to study the Torah or all of the scripture from the Hebraic perspective. And just getting right into it. Okay. Isaiah 7:15. Anybody have it here?
Lord has been appointed that's made creature.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I need somebody to read for me. You can start at verse 10 and then just read through 16.
Yah spoke again to Achaz. He said, ask Yah your Elohim to give you a sign. Ask it anywhere, from the depths of Sheol to the heights above. But Achaz answered, I won't ask. I won't test Yah. Then the prophet said, listen here, house of David. Is trying people's patience such a small thing for you that you must try the patience of my Elohim as well? Therefore, Yah himself will give you people a sign. The young woman will become pregnant, bear a son, and name him Emmanuel. Elohim is with us. By the time he knows enough to refuse evil and choose good, he will have to eat curdled milk and wild honey. Yes, before the child knows enough to refuse evil and choose good, the land whose two kings you dread will be left abandoned.
Okay. So, verse 15 is the part that I want to highlight because what was said to me in the conversation that I was having was like, yeah, see, because then when you keep reading, the little boy was born and blah, 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 and it's kind of like, I, I don't want to disparage anyone, but it's like simple reasoning because the same person said to me, for example, a virgin shall conceive, and the statement he made to me, he was like, virgins get pregnant in the hood every day. It's like, well, then they're not virgins anymore, and but the verse in verse 15, I study Jeff Benner a lot. I know some of y'all are familiar with Jeff Benner, but like it it's one of the tools that you can use to familiarize you with like the culture and why. Like I'm real big on why words mean what they mean Hebraically. Just having an understanding that they don't, like in English anything could be anything. I only have to give an example. Y'all all kind of understand what I'm saying with that. But Hebraically, when it talks about verse 15, he shall eat curds and honey when he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. That that's one of many idioms that's in all of Scripture. That it's like, okay, what do that have to do with anything? Like, why is that significant, or what do it got to be some when I see things like that now when I study, I always think like it has to be something more substantial, or like there's no wasted words in Scripture. So I was studying Jeff Benner, and I'm gonna go to my notes. So it says one of the aspects of the Hebrew language is the system of letters, roots, and words. So there's a parent root of the word for wisdom that we just read in Isaiah, that is called Ham. Now y'all know Ham as the father of Canaan and the son of Noah, but the word in and of itself, it means heat, and it's derived. Its derivatives demonstrate how I don't want to say crazy, but like how amazing the system of the Hebrew language is, because Ham is Het Mem. Het is a tent wall, Mem is water, and the idea Hebraically, I don't know if you can't even see that on there, but that's all right. It's the idea of separating water. So like when you continue, it says that sorry. Okay, so when you put both of these letters together, it means to separate water. And it when the reason why they made this heat is because when you put heat on water, it evaporates. So all of these words right here, you have Hemet, which means skin bag, is Het Mem Tav. You have Hema, which means cheese, which is Het Mem Hay. You have Hema, which is also Het Mem and Hay, but it means sun. And then you have Hamas, Het Mem, and I believe that's a final. Give me 1 second. I think that's a final Mem, or and that means to shake. And then you have Het Mem and Dalet, which means to crave or to desire. And you also have Hamatz, which means Het mem, and that's a zadi, a final. I have trouble with that. Please forgive me. But while you can plainly see the root, um, when you can plainly see the root of ham at the beginning of each of these words, a lot of people don't see how the words are related. Like, can anybody tell me why a skin bag, cheese, sun, to shake, to crave, and to sour are related? Nobody knows
That's all the process of making cheese.
That's right.
All those things together.
That's absolutely right. But what does that have to do with wisdom? That's right. Your book, man. Hold on. So say what you said again, Lori.
All those words together, all those things make the process of creating cheese.
That's right. So, and you said, Enrique, what is the word for wisdom? You gotta know it, cause you don't know what the word for wisdom is. Seriously? Huh?
In Hebrew?
The word for wisdom.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, I thought I was assuming that you knew it because you stated the correct correlation between them. So I was just.
I thought that's what it was, but.
So let me explain it to y'all. So, okay, we can plainly see the root is het or ham, and it comes all right, y'all, we already established how they're related. So sour milk, which is uh chametz, was placed in a skin bag that was set out in the heat, which is uh or yeah, het. Sour milk is placed out in the heat in a skin bag, forming the delicacy of cheese. So why does this have to do with wisdom? Okay, the root hakam is I didn't write that down, but I'll explain it. Y'all could get it later after if you want. It's het ka, and the final, I think that's a final mem. Yeah, that's a mem. Hakam. And then secondly is related to the idea of separating. And this as this word means one who is able to separate between what is good and what is bad. So the word can be translated either as skill when applied to a craftsman or as wise when applied to a leader or a counselor. So like how we read all the time, his name should be wonderful counselor. All of that is related to Isaiah 7:15. People, but I was so like fascinated with it when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. So like the whole time, if you understand the culture, you have to be able to see what's said in the actual words themselves. And that's how when we've had discussions recently about how to study the scripture. That's why it's important to study it like that. Because we can read it and take for granted in English that I understand this, or this is my perspective or my opinion. But your opinion don't matter because going back to John 3, when he talks about being born from the beginning, we all in a state of we're kind of thinking from the end when we have to be thinking from the beginning. And the things that still stood up then stand up now. So you have to be able to look at all of the scripture this way to be able to notice that you're missing something. So let me continue with the rest of what I
Wait, so repeat again the actual word for wisdom.
Okay.
Did you say that yet? You did.
The word
for I got a little bit lost for a second.
I'm sorry. I got you. Next time I'm gonna put this together better. Before a little bit better. Hold on 1 second. That's the word I didn't write. That's what I was saying to you.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's Hakam. It looks like this.
So, yeah.
Let me make sure I got the right Strong's. 2450. That's Strong's 2450. Hebrew. Bear with me, y'all.
Fine.
2450. Shokma.
That's what Henrika was telling me the word. There might be one more word for it. Right.
I think I'm pronouncing it different because it's the same. It's the same letters. So it's so like for example, 1 Kings 4:30. It says, "Thus excel the wisdom of Solomon of all the men of the east and all of the wisdom of Egypt." It's the word. It's the word 2451, which is hak. Is het, what's this kaf, and then there's mem, and then there's a tav on the end of that 51. But the one I'm talking about is 50. 4150. It means wise. So Isaiah 7:15, when it's talking about the child in question, it's all of these words correlate with why the statement was written the way it was written. So the idea of separating as this word right here, he spells, this guy spells it a little bit differently. It's het, kaf, and then mem. I don't know if you would say chokma or hakma, right? Or hakam. That's how he phoneticized it that way. And it's related to the idea of separating, as this word means one who is able to separate between what is good and what is bad, like you just said, Ezekiel. So this word can be translated as either skilled when applied to a craftsman or as wise when applied to a leader or counselor. And a couple of scriptures that coincide with the word. And now send for me a man of skill. That's this word. To work in gold. That's 2 Chronicles 2 and 7. Another one, provide for yourselves wise hakam, men of understanding and knowing for your tribes, and I will set them as rulers over you. That's Deuteronomy 1 and 3. So the verse that's in the book of Isaiah, the connection, like we said, between cheese and which is 25:29, that's this one. Hema and Shakma is one who's able to separate the good from the bad. So when it says he will eat cheese, it's not actually talking about him sitting at a table eating a meal. And when we don't remove our presumption, we read a lot of passages that way, and we tend to forget that we don't really understand what we think we understand most of the time. So because Jeff Benner, he also wrote, he said that there appears to be a physical connection between cheese and wisdom, as the passage indicates that eating cheese can bring about wisdom. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Like you were saying, that the idea is the separating, the being able to see between good and bad.
Yes.
And understanding when you would make cheese. Like I would have never, I don't know how
Lord knew that, but
that's the thing.
That's
like,
cool.
They would have known that as, primarily agricultural people, they're making cheese.
Yes.
So it would be very clear to somebody that
It's not about just eating cheese with the shipping process. You take the person and do whatever is left.
Yes.
That is like
Yes. That's right. And it's kind of like when I read his conclusion, because it was like, all right, why is he trying to put it back? And don't get me wrong, all the information that I got it looking at. I was inspired to it from his page, but the conclusion that he drew is like, nah, it's not even really. I'm trying to think of another scriptural example where they say something that is tongue in cheek or poetic, but that's a part of the I don't want to say swagger because that gets used a lot of negative connotation, but that's a part of Hebrew culture. Like when you read Deuteronomy 29 and 29, it says these things be given to us and our children so that we can do all of these words. It only makes sense if you really sit and look at what the words are saying. It's like he'll eat cheese and honey, and then like the word for honey is not even always honey. Like, but everybody transliterates it as honey. In some cases that Hebrew word, and I didn't write it down, y'all forgive me, and I don't remember it, but it's actually the same word for the fruit dates or figs, like how you have fig Newton. Yes. So like that all of this is I wanted to share it because it shows the contrast in what you think you know and what's actually being communicated to you. And that was what y'all placed inside of me to share it, because it's like really, really slow down and read the book and like, why did this mean that? Why did this say that? Instead of just, because like I have a tendency to, just growing up how I grew up, I come off the cuff and you try to assume what you already think. And this is hopefully it'll persuade y'all to be more cognizant of what you're reading and taking the time to like just slow down completely.
So I didn't know the difference. I knew cheese came from sour milk, but I didn't know that they use heat. Do they have to boil it?
They put it in a bag and they sit out in the sun, and it causes the water and the cream to separate. And so, like when you going back to Isaiah, and it says that the virgin's child he'll have wisdom. That's all. It's poetic license that's written inside of the line. It don't have nothing to do with his diet. and that's I was just like floored when I saw it. It was like, wait a minute, like, so I have to go back and reevaluate everything I've ever read, because how much more is in the scripture like
What else I'm getting out of that is that whole thing about getting eaten up before the separation, because how to try is through adversities and like you get like
yes.
And wisdom comes from those trials and things.
Purified through fire.
I'll also say, even with the mentioning of eating honey, like my translation says, heard them honey shall eat if you may go to refuse before issues are good. Even if it's honey, if honey always gathered, I mean, even with honey, you have to, you don't eat the wax with it.
Right.
Separate the honey from the
And that's funny. Don't think I wasn't looking up honey, because I was like, why does that? Okay, all right, the curds I get, that's an easy one because I got it. But the honey, and I don't know nothing about the process, so you just educated me on that. And I don't remember who said it, but like, you kind of have to develop an agriculturalist mind to be able to get a lot of the references that are being made. Because we read a lot of times and be like, okay, yeah, such and so, blah blah blah, and then that same Isaiah 7:15 seemed like a throwaway line, because everybody knows, for unto us a child is born and the son is given. They know all that part, but this is talking about his wisdom, and that part of the word, bro. That's pretty much what I have prepared for the group today.
Also, just like tying in even the honey part again. So I think it's cool. So okay, like so you just broke down how that first part relates to wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then talking about the honey, just right away, like my mind went to a couple passages. So this passage actually directly connects the honey to the wisdom as well.
Mm-hmm.
In Proverbs 24:14, it says, "Know that wisdom is similarly sweet to your soul." Oh, sorry, rewind. Starting with 13. Mm-hmm. My son, eat honey, for it is good. Mm-hmm. Honeycomb drippings are sweet to your taste. Right. Know that wisdom is similarly sweet to your soul.
Right.
If you find it, then you will have a future. What you hope for will not be cut off. Mm-hmm. And then also Psalms 119, 103.
Now the internet don't work.
We know that Psalm 119 is all about the law, right? Like, so that's the background. And then I'll just start with 102. I don't turn away from your rulings because you have instructed me. And then 103, how sweet to my tongue is your promise. I think that word is also, what are other translations of that word promise? How sweet to my tongue is your, I think there's other.
How sweet to my taste, your words, sweeter than honey to my mouth.
So your words, your promise, your words, I think it's your law also. Yeah, truly sweeter than honey.
Utterance, speech.
Right.
Word.
Right. So it's
commandment.
Like, yeah, so it's like that honey being compared to, well, being it's about the word.
Mm-hmm.
Now the word is what gives wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, that's all that coming together for me.
So that's the word that I had felt compelled to share. Any questions other than what was already asked? Okay. Ezekiel. I've been stuck on Ezekiel chapter 37 through 39, and you laugh because you know that I've spoken to you about it. But it was one of the things that I think in awakening, a lot of times we lose sight of. Yeah, we get evidence and examples and illustrations from the past, but we still have a future to live through. And one of the things that I'm personally like interested in, because I know everybody has a different process with how they go about seeking the word and communing with Yah's word. I'm into eschatology, and that's studying end time for whoever is, not familiar with that word. And I get caught up listening to a lot of different voices, and it kind of caused me to go back here because like I think there's so much here that hasn't already occurred yet, and we tend to deviate from what our purpose is as a people when we're when we don't when we don't see like when we don't like have our eyes fixed on what's next, like when we talk about those frontlets and the Shema, like okay, we have all this information to do what, and I think that's a lot of our common frustration. So if y'all will indulge me, I just want to go through. I'm not going to stop and do a lot of commentary, but I just want to go through these passages together. If anybody sees something, say something. That's cool. So at the very beginning, Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1 says, "The hand of Yahweh was upon me, and took me out by the ruach of Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was filled with bones. and it was filled with bones, and he made me pass among them all around, and see, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and see, they were very dry. So most of us are familiar with these are the offspring of the children of Israel. This is them losing their estate and going into disarray. We can 16, 19, all the way back to 70 AD if we wanted to, but we all know that. So it says, and he said to me, Son of man, will these bones live? And I said, Oh, Master Yahuwah, you know. And he said to me, prophesy to these bones, and you shall say to them, dry bones, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus says the Master Yahuwah to these bones, see, I am bringing into you a ruach, and you shall live, and I shall put sinews on you, and bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put the ruach in you, and you shall live. The one thing that I found that was a point. There was a point about the part in verse 6 where he said, I shall put sinews on you and bring flesh upon you and cover you with skin and put a ruach in you and you shall live. So he's bringing the body together. You have people assembling. The word flesh. Give me 1 second. I gotta look that up again. My notes are all over the place. Just a second. All right. So verse 6 again, it says, and I shall put sinews on you and bring flesh upon you and cover you with skin and put a ruach in you and you shall live. Anybody know the word for flesh? The word is basar, and it always means the skin or meat of animals or man, and when it's used in the phrase all flesh, it means all mankind. The verbal root of this word can be found in the following passages where it's translated as proclaim the good news. The spirit, this is Isaiah 61:1. The spirit of Adonai Yahuwah is upon me because Yahuwah has anointed me to proclaim the basar or the good news. What does flesh have to do with proclaiming good news? Simple. When one proclaimed good news, such as the arrival of a baby or visitors, or some other celebration, an animal was slaughtered and flesh was served. So anytime good news was proclaimed in any capacity, they just like Abraham when he served Yah and the angels, they'll kill my fattened calf and I'm gonna serve it. So when we read through this next couple passages, I don't want to lead y'all too far without just reading along with it. What Yah is gonna do when we talk about separation, whether it's cheese or the cutting of flesh, the basar, the basora, the good news of the kingdom, he has to, in light of separating the people that belong to him, he has to cut flesh. And it's a good thing for him to do it, because if he doesn't do it, then he's not protecting or avenging the way that the word says that he will. So when we keep reading verse 7, it says, and I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise and it was rattling, and the bones came together bone to bone. And I looked and saw sinews and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them, but there was no ruach in them. He said to me, prophesy to the ruach, prophesy, son of man, and you shall say to the ruach, thus said the master, come from the four winds, Ruach, and breathe on these slain so that they live. So it immediately brought me to why there's so many different contentions within the community of people who call themselves awakened and enlightened, because he hasn't quickened us from the four winds yet. We have rattling going on with the bones and all of those things, but it's not a state of like we was just singing Echad. We're not there yet. That's why we got different feast days, and that's why we have all of these discrepancies with the minutia of all of the information in the book. And it's just like and I can't think of the scripture off the top of my head, the one that talks about how the earth is groaning, like how we have all of these natural disasters and things happening. We're trying to hurry up and be somewhere where we're not at, and we think that the awakening was like a lot of us, and I speak for myself. It's like I'm woke now, I'm ready, but it's like the body's not ready. It's not prepared. It's not blemished. So reading it says in verse 8, I looked and I saw the sinews in the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them, but there was no ruach in them. And he said to me, prophesy to the ruach. Prophesy, son of man, and you shall say to the ruach, thus said the master Yahweh, come from the four winds, ruach, and breathe on these slain, so that they live. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the ruach came into them, and they lived and stood up on their feet, a very great army. We talk about the feast of Yom Teruah, tabernacles today. I'm of the belief that a lot of what's in these couple of chapters, they coincide with the advent or the return of the Messiah. So we're still working out that trembling and putting together the parts. That's how come we have this fluctuation of agreement and fellowship and all of these different things that we're going through. Sure.
In light of the feast day that we're living in, Isaiah 58, says, cry loud and spare not, all ties in with this one word that you see repeated over and over again. Prophesy to the wind. Prophesy. It's like cry now. If there's no other given time, now is the time for us to proclaim the Pesor. And now is the time for us to yell, scream, loud.
That's right. That's right. I believe it. So it says, I prophesied as he commanded me, and the Ruach came into them, and they lived and stood up on their feet, a great army. And he said to me, son of man, these bones are all the house of Israel. See, they say our bones are dry, our hope has perished, and we ourselves have been cut off. We go through that repeatedly with just all of the things that have happened to us in history, not healing from the numerous traumas that we've inflicted on others and ourselves, and self-inflicted, and all of these things. So it says, they say, they say our bones are dry, our hope has perished, and we ourselves have been cut off. Therefore, prophesy, and you'll say to them, thus says the master Yahweh, see, O my people, I am opening your graves, and I shall bring you up from your graves, and shall bring you into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahweh when I open your graves, O my people, and bring you up from your graves, and I shall put my Ruach in you, and then you shall live. And I shall settle you in your own land, and you shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken, and I have done it, declares Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, son of man, take a stick for yourself, and write on it, for Yehudah, and for the children of Yisra'el and his companions. That's Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then it says, for Yosef, the stick of Ephraim, and all of the house of Yisrael, his companions. And those are the other brothers. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, this is what the master Yahweh says. I am taking the stick of Yosef, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and all the tribes of Yisra'el, his companions, and I shall give them to him with the stick of Yehuda and make them one stick, and there'll be one in my hand. And the stick on which you shall write, and the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And speak to them. Thus says the Master Yahweh, see, I am taking the children of Israel from among the nations, wherever they have gone, and I shall gather them from all around, and I shall bring them into their land. And I shall make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel, and one sovereign shall be sovereign over them all. And let them no longer be two nations, and let them no longer be divided into two reigns. And they shall no longer defile themselves with their idols, nor with their disgusting things, nor with any of their transgressions. And I shall save them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned. And I shall cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. While David, my servant, is sovereign over them. And they shall have one shepherd and walk in my right rulings and guard my laws, and shall do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob, my servant, where your fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell in it, they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David be their prince forever. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant. It is with them. And I shall place them and increase them, and shall place my set apart place in their midst forever. And my dwelling place shall be over them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the nations shall know that I, Yahweh, am setting Israel apart, when my set apart place is in their midst forever. So, I think part of the reason I've been stuck on this set of chapters, we talk about the Great Tribulation, the wilderness, all of these things that nobody ever really has a general consensus on. And what I'm coming to understand is that Yah is going to, he's going to put us in, he's going to retrieve us in a moment of calamity, when all of the nations are at war with one another. And I'm giving disclosure, this is my own thing. It's not, I ain't gonna be like what the Spirit told me. It's not like that. We're trying to force something that he's gonna do on his own. It has nothing to do with our responsibility toward him, because we still have to do that part. But collectively, like the conversations we're having, we keep trying to fit a size 10 or a size 13 foot inside a size 10 shoe with a lot of things that are people. And we kind of have to go back to just evaluating what are the things that we need to do to be in that number of the saints when it's time for hit the gathering the way that he needs it. So, chapter 38, and the word of Yahweh came to me saying, Son of man, set your face against God in the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, Tubal, and prophesy against him. And you shall say, thus says the master Yahweh, see, I am against God and the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armors and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with the shield and helmet. Gomer and all its bands, the house of Togarmah from the far north, and all its bands, many peoples with you. Be ready, prepare yourselves, you and all your assemblies that are assembled to you, and you shall be a guard for them. And after many yamim, you shall be called up. So in the later years, you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword and gathered from many people in the mountains of Yisra'el, which have been a continual waste, but they were brought out of the nations and all of them shall dwell safely. And you shall go up, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud, you and all your bands of many peoples with you. Now, is anybody familiar with what's going on in the news with Iran and the Saudis in Israel?
Yeah, they just like one of the world finalists or something. So the U.S. is talking about sending aid over to Saudi Arabia to help out with that.
Right.
And strategy moves that's talking about cutting that off and not getting oil out to people and all the sanctions being set up.
Right.
And,
And pretty soon gas gonna be $30 a gallon.
Right.
So go Genesis. What was it? Genesis was it chapter 14? Is it Genesis chapter 14? Yes. All right. So I ain't gonna hold y'all for this whole thing. I just want to highlight something that was shown to me, and I just want to parallel. I've heard somebody say that this was the First World War. I agree with this. And what the reason why I feel like I'm placing the emphasis on the Ezekiel chapters is because of it's kind of like that saying people say you putting the cart before the horse a lot of times, and a lot of the things we doing like and I give disclosure. I don't know the answers to when is the wilderness and where is the wilderness and are we in the wilderness now, but I know that this is like the template because everything that Yah puts forth in the beginning, it becomes cyclical and he brings it back. He brings it back again. He doesn't do anything different because his plans are always perfect. So when he says the kings of, so if you read the first half of the chapter from 1 to verse 11, the kings went to war. And at verse 12 it says they took Lot, Abram's brother, which is really his nephew, but we are brothers. So they took Lot, Abram's brother, whose son dwelt in his brother's son who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Anan. And they had a covenant with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his house. They went in pursuit as far as Dan. He and his servants divided against them by evening and smote them and pursued them as far as Kobah, which is on the left of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return from the defeat of Kedalaoma and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him at the valley of Shaweh, that is the sovereign's valley. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High Al. So we see that there was a war. The people of the righteous man Abraham got taken. Abraham sent an army and destroyed the people who were responsible, brought the family back, and Melchizedek rewarded him for doing that. So that's what I perceive is what's part of the ongoing of what's in Ezekiel 38 and 39. When y'all talks about the why he's going to destroy these other nations, and if you it can be kind of convoluted with the names, but all of these people from back then are related to the people that are mentioned in 38 and 39 Ezekiel. So chapter 38, where Yah says in verse 8, and after many Yamim, which is what I perceive is what's going to happen very shortly in the future. It says, after many Yamim, you shall be called up. In the latter years, you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword and gathered from many people on the mountains of Yisra'el, which have been a continual waste. So I'm posing a question. Does anybody here understand that we'll be gathered before or after this occurrence here where Yah is going to go to war with his armies?
In the process.
Yeah, because the prophecy of the 4 years and different things about that was like you show like secret and church and you show coming up. So I kind of look at it that like them going to war, that's staying out there. And that will also look back to come out from people being out for that time 30%. So don't do particular sins of the judgment and also about the judgment and miss that coming out.
So anybody else? All right, so what I everything is like my bare naked soul. So like the way I understand is, y'all are both correct. The reason I asked is because I've had it said to me by other scholars, if you want to call them that, or people who consider themselves that. I'm just somebody who's studying and trying. That our coming out will be like, just y'all putting it on our heart to